Thank you for watching Razzle. This is Ryan Havens here, fighting a cold, but I'm gonna push through and get this video done. I know I've been trying, as you clicked on the video, so you know what this is gonna be. I've been trying to get this video review done for a while. I actually was lucky enough to see this movie early, but I just ended up putting together the review. And then, now I'm fighting the sickness, and I want to see if I get better and everything. And now I put it off too long. I just gotta get started with it. And also, I know, you're probably like, if you saw my last video, the December video, you're like, wait, he wasn't sick in that video. That's because I recorded that video a while ago. I only just got around to editing it and stuff now. So, enough of that side note, let's get started. This review is going to be of The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2, the final installation of this huge blockbuster franchise. This movie is about Katniss Everdeen and her pals all trying to fight back against the rebellion after all the unspeakable things that the Capitol has done against the civilians, and it's the final payoff of all the franchise is built up to, and it's not too bad. This movie tonally is the absolute darkest and most grim of the franchise. It's really dark. And one of my first points I'm going to make, which is a negative, is I think at times it's overly dark. More dark and more grim than it actually should be. Now, I know it's tackling some really heavy and dark themes. Like, this film is really... it's really a war film, so it tackles a lot of really dark themes, so you would think tonally it would work, but it's not consistent with the rest of the franchise. Let me just say this really quick. Catching Fire was a huge surprise for me, because I didn't really like the first Hunger Games that much, but after seeing Catching Fire, I was so into it. After that, that's when I started to read the books, because I loved the Catching Fire, that movie. That movie carries a lot of the same themes that this movie does, but it does it tonally, it's different. I walked out of Catching Fire saying, you know what? That movie was a lot of fun. And not just was it a lot of fun, it had a lot going on, but I walked out of that movie saying it was a lot of fun, and it made me want to see it again. This movie, I walked out quiet. Like, I walked out of the theater, and I just kind of was like, it was weird. Like, it's not a movie I want to see again because of it. And, that's obviously a flaw. But I will say, while it's really dark, if you can get past that, it's a really well done movie with some really great acting. Jennifer Lawrence is great as always. It kind of looks like she's outgrowing the role a little bit. Like, it kind of feels like sometimes it kind of feels like, all right, she's just trying to get through this, because I think they filmed part 1 and part 2 back to back, so it was such a long shoot. And you almost feel like she's like kind of getting tired of it, and she's kind of over it. But other than that, she has a lot of really great scenes. But honestly, surprising for me, Peter Millark, Josh Hutcherson. He surprised me in this role, because I honestly, in the first 2 Hunger Games movies, he's always been kind of a flaw to me. I never really thought he was that great of an actor. I always thought he was just okay, especially in the first one. I thought he was really bad. The second one, he looked a little better, but I still, his character, I think, is good and all, but I just never thought he added all that much, and I thought a lot of it just felt like he was reading off of something. But then in the last one, in part 1, he looked like he showed a lot more range, and he had a very small amount of scenes, and he looked like he really showed a lot more range. I was shocked and impressed with that. That was one of the positives of the movie for me. And then this movie, I was thinking, now he's going to get more screen time, there's going to be more demanding, he's going to be bad, but he really impressed me with this one, and actually instills a lot of hope for me for the future of his career. I thought he was impressive in the movie. The rest of the cast was really good. Donald Sutherland is, he's perfect, as a villain. He is perfect. There's this one scene at the end, it's really dark. I don't want to spoil, obviously. There's this one scene at the end with him, and it's just, he's laughing, and it's just really well creepily acted. Almost like an old Joker. It was just, I don't even know how to describe it. It was so well acted, and it was just such a powerful scene, and I really enjoyed that part. There's a couple of scenes that are really, really well done. Almost reminiscent of, I know there's one in particular that's super reminiscent of Alien, which may sound weird, but in its claustrophobic nature, it's dark, it's creepy. This is probably the scariest Hunger Games movie to date. I wouldn't bring my children to it because it's actually really dark and frightening at times. But there's one scene that very well done action scene in my opinion, although it gets a little shaky cam-ish, but There's, I think, one really cool, dark action scene that's creepy and it's tension building. I was really impressed with, I'm not going to say specifically what it is, but there's one scene that's exceptional, and I was really impressed with. Lastly, I'm just going to talk about one of the major negatives for me, and this is really a fault of the entire thing, and I can't really say I can blame the filmmakers, it's more the producers in the studio. It just proves more and more this film this shouldn't have been a film. It should have been just one. Part 1 and part 2 should have just been one. I'm interested to see if anybody can fan edit it into one film, because it showed, like, at first the film is actually pretty well paced. I actually think it's much better than the first part, and it seems like it's a little better paced thing. We're kind of moving along, and the beats are all kind of hitting, and it feels like it's flowing nicely. And then when we get to the end of the second act, it feels like the film is just about to end. It's like, okay, now we get to sit back and this film is going to conclude, it's going to resolve. But it just keeps going, like, for far too long, and it messes with the pacing and immensely. It just makes the film drag, because it feels like the film is supposed to be resolving. We're in that denouement, we're in that falling action, and it just keeps dragging us along, and it just feels like a grind. It's like, oh, this is never gonna end. It just keeps going. And I know there's a lot of important details in there, but it really just feels like, I mean, it messes with the pacing completely, and that was really poorly done. And a lot of that, I really feel like, comes down to just this film should have been paced for one film. That was a huge issue for me. Other than that, the film, it's really good. It has a lot of dark moments. It has a lot of important cultural meaning to it, and a lot of its scenes, and a lot of its and what it's trying to say. The film has a lot, like I said, a lot of great scenes. The performances are really good. It's just there's a lot of issues, like I said, with the pacing. Overly dark to a degree of almost being a dread and hard to sit through. But that it is what it is. Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2, I'm going to give a 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, I enjoy the film, and I think if you're a fan of the Hunger Games films, if you've enjoyed them all or you've read the books, then go watch it. You're gonna love it. More than likely, you're gonna love it. If you're not, if you haven't really been on board for the films, especially if you didn't like the last one, honestly, don't go see it. Like, don't bother. Just maybe rent it later if you're somewhat interested. I wouldn't go to the theaters though if I had any. I mean, I would, because I'm reviewing it and that's what I do. But like, if I were you and I wasn't that interested in it, no way. Like, I mean, it wouldn't carry that much weight for me, and it would just be really hard to sit through. But if you're a fan, go see it. Thank you very much, guys, for watching Razzle. This is Ryan here. I'm gonna try to put out a couple more reviews, because I got the chance to see a couple of really great films recently. I saw Spotlight. I really hope I can get a chance to get a review out for that. I also wanted to see if maybe this unlikely, but I want to also try to get a review out for the Stanford Prison Experiment. Was another one of my favorites this year. But that all doesn't matter. Thank you very much for watching, guys. This is Ryan here from Razzle. Have a great day.